You're listening to the Armchair Quarter. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Joey Ariola.
Good morning. NFL schedule release. Oh, man, what a day for this. We have a lot to talk about between Colts, Tampa Bay, Tennessee, a lot of things to talk about. I'm excited, and I'll be at week 1, Seattle at Indianapolis.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I cannot wait to never see the Toronto Blue Jays again this damn season. We play today at noon. Get them the hell out of town. I'll help them pack. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Hey, Ross, quick question for you. Are you ready to party?
No. Gandalf is coming to town?
Kathy's with her parents. I have nothing to do, so tomorrow we are partying with Gandalf, dude.
Wow, okay. Dude alert. And who is this guy?
Mike Gandalf Ganderson. Only like the funnest guy in the world.
He's so cool, dude. We never party anymore.
Hey, what do you mean we never have fun anymore? You have fun with me.
Joey, you are gonna love this guy. Gandalf is like the party wizard.
Well, why do you call him Gandalf?
Gandalf the wizard. Hello, didn't you read Lord of the Rings in high school?
No, I had sex in high school.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Joey. Joey, for those, we had technical issues. That's the short of it. Here's the show. Joey, talk to us about the Colts and the 2021 schedule release, and we're going to get into everything going barreling through. So, Joey, what do you got to say about... Well, it ain't turned back time yet. What the hell am I doing? All right, here we go. What prep show has it been? Joey, how are you this morning, sir?
The full schedule is out, obviously, and I'm pretty excited. The front half is going to be really challenging. You start off with Seattle and the Rams coming to Indianapolis. As I mentioned, I'm actually definitely planning on and will be at the Seattle game. And then our first road game is division at Tennessee week 3. First 3 games right off the bat are going to be tough. So I'm looking forward to it, but it will be a challenge right from the get-go.
I am looking forward to, well, we're going to get into JAGS and we're going to get into Titans tomorrow, but there's some things that I can't wait to get into on that. We got a little time to do this and a lot to get through. So let's go ahead and jump into the defending champion Buccaneers they started all off with the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, talk about explosive matchup, especially I'm interested to see Dak coming back versus that ferocious pass rush with JPP, Sue and the gang in Tampa Bay. So, I'm not sure on Dallas yet. I was high on them last year, and then they had the Dak injury, and the defense was terrible. So I'm not sure what to expect, but I think Tampa Bay, being in sync for a year now, will look a little bit more together than the Dallas Cowboys on opening night.
What else do you see with the Buccaneers schedule? You got to carry the load a little bit. You can't be a Jonathan Taylor today. You have to be more of a Derrick Henry. You got to carry the weight because I've got things I'm trying to do that I normally do pre-show. So
hey, just as Jonathan,
unless I start talking.
Just as Jonathan Taylor's going to do this year, I will certainly start that way and now carry the load. So if you look at the entire schedule, week 3 they play at the Rams. I think that's going to be a good game to watch for all Tampa Bay fans. I know week 12 Indianapolis is host Tampa Bay, so that's another one I'll be looking forward to on the schedule. But in terms of the toughness of it, their division isn't. I mean, without Drew Brees at the quarterback position this season, the Saints are a little unknown. the Panthers have changed at their quarterback position, even though it might be for the better. And the Atlanta Falcons, they're kind of stuck in this gear of, okay, we still have Matt Ryan, but we're not very good. So the division game shouldn't be too bad for Tampa Bay. And honestly, besides that, I don't see a ton of tough games on their schedule. I think what everyone's going to be looking forward to is that week 4 matchup at the New England Patriots.
Oh, yeah. That was
I mean, who's not looking forward to Tom Brady getting back to Foxborough in week 4? I mean, it's going to be great.
Especially, there was an article out there saying that he could be going. I didn't get a chance to read it because the damn computer went crashing down just in the middle. I was reading it pre-show. He's going to be right in the middle of a chase towards one of Drew Brees' records, that they believe it'll fall right into that. So I'll have to do a little more research on that because I don't have time to do that. But that's going to be a great one. I wonder, they were speculating yesterday whether or not Dak Prescott would be ready to roll by week 1. I would think he would be. What say you?
No, I agree. I mean, I know these injuries could be tough, but he got early in first half of the season. I think the recovery time as technology and doctors advance, I think he'll definitely be ready for week 1, and we should see a high-powered offense versus a high-powered defense. I mean, this is what you asked for on a Thursday night game. We haven't get to see Dak since they were putting up 30 plus, but still losing once in a while. I remember that crazy game against the Falcons in overtime, but I think Dak will be ready week 1. I don't know how, in game shape ready with all his key throws will being on target, but it's going to be fun to see him against that Buccaneers pass rush because he is still pretty mobile, but we saw Patrick Mahomes struggle with that in the Super Bowl. So, I mean,
yeah, I believe that. Okay, so that week 1, by the way, the NFL lines are already out for that. What a bunch of nonsense that is. Hey, if you're laying bets on that, unless you have some intel and you're a Nostradamus, how do you lay a bet on 49ers -7.5 at the Lions right now when you don't even know who the damn quarterback is going to be? And what if there's an injury during spring training? Not spring training, fall practice, summer practice, or preseason, because they are going to play 3 games this year. I was really hoping they would cut that down to 2, man. Ugh.
I know they should have.
Get out of here. Who wants a damn preseason? I've just gotten to where I've decided I'm not watching preseason this year, man. I'm not going to let it suck me in. It's been progressively worse every year. And this year, they are going to do 3. So I might do week 2.
Agreed.
Week 2, you'll get the most, but what are you really getting out of this? I'll probably watch a quarter or so in week 2. And week 3 is obviously unwatchable, and it usually kicks off. What gets me about the 3rd week, they're usually doing NFL Thursday, last preseason game, nothing but the scrubs playing, same time college football is kicking off that night. So I never watch the final week. So you're going to get 3 weeks of preseason. Already the Titans are a 2.5-point favorite home against the Cardinals. Like, where do they get this from? What the hell do you have to? Anyways, I guess people are just that starved for gambling that look, there's nothing wrong with gambling, but gambling on a game that's going to happen in about 5 months is a little absurd.
Yeah, I could see a futures bet, but not a one-game individual. I mean, if you're betting to make the playoffs or do the Super Bowl, that's one thing. But individual games, come on.
I wonder how many wins. I get that, which I'm sure those will start rolling out. But anyways, moving on from that, let's go ahead and dive into man, everything is falling apart this morning. Even my sound machine froze. I don't know what. Here's the thing: people are going to say, "Are you going through a bad start?" No, I went outside. It's drizzling. That's it. I don't know what the hell happened.
Life comes at you. We'll be fine.
We do lose power quite a bit in the state of Florida, but it usually comes on pretty quickly. But normally you lose it during the late afternoon. That's why it hasn't affected our show that much over the years. But anyways, back to the task at hand. Week 1, are there any other games that jump out at you? We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but then I want to dive into after we hit that, I want to go straight into Sunday Night Football.
Well, if I have to look at 2 games, I'm actually looking at a couple in the AFC. I think Pittsburgh at Buffalo. I'm interested to see right off the bat, is Pittsburgh going to come out really strong this year as they laid that egg in the playoff game? And Buffalo made a great run. I mean, they just lost to a better team in Kansas City. So I'm interested to see 2 of the cream of the crop from last year's playoffs go at it there. And then Browns Chiefs, everyone, is really up on the Browns this year. I see them in a lot of places, like top 3 in the AFC, right behind, the Kansas Cities and the Buffaloes of the world. A lot of people have Cleveland in that 3 spot. Well, can they live up to the challenge week 1 against Patrick Mahomes, who will be hungry after losing the Super Bowl? So I know a lot of people will probably look at Green Bay, New Orleans. That's going to be an interesting game as well, because we don't even know the quarterbacks for either side. But my attention drew early to the AFC dynamic matchups.
Week 1 Sunday Night Football. It is Bears Rams. We were debating on was that the play. It is Bears Rams, and so that's an exciting one. Hopefully we'll get to see Justin Fields and not Andy Dalton and his. I mean, when that guy fell off, he fell off quick. I've always felt like Andy Dalton was a solid quarterback when he played in Cincinnati. And I don't know if it was just him getting used to his surroundings, whatever, but there's no way in hell it's going to get better going to Chicago. So I'm really hoping that we see Justin Fields out the gate. And what an expensive backup, $10 million they paid that guy.
Man. Well, just talking to my Bears friends, I mean, alongside that, they got Nick Foles too, which is a disaster in itself. But the Bears have 4 primetime games, and I hope Justin Fields is starting week 1, because the last thing we need is an Andy Dalton, Matt Nagy offense where
Who wants to watch Bears Rams week 1 Sunday Night Football and ends up not being Justin Fields? Nobody wants to watch that. As big of a skeptic as I am on him, and I'm not even going to say that I don't think Justin Fields is going to be great. I just don't know. I've seen he was very up in college, but he was also very down. But I would much rather watch that. And that's a risky roll of the dice to put Bears Rams. Like if it ends up being Andy Dalton. And what if something happens to Stafford where he gets banged up and can't play week 1? They go, you know what? We can make it happen. They don't even have Blake Bortles to lean on anymore. He signed with the Packers, and the Blake Bortles era in Green Bay begins. Good luck with that, Packers fans. Week 2 of the Sunday Night Football, Chiefs Ravens. Now that's a fun one. You got to love that one. And then you get Packers 49ers. That's, man, you're putting a lot on the fact that you believe that Aaron Rodgers is still going to be in a Green Bay uniform come week 3.
Well, they were talking about this. They said this was the hardest schedule to manage, because even though the talks have died down on Wilson and Watson, when you have those 2 guys in Rodgers and their statuses have all been unknown at some points during this offseason, it's hard to plan. The Packers have 5, big time games. What if Rodgers does get traded? Again, I'm not saying they still can't be a good team, but people put them on primetime to see.
Well, I will
Rodgers.
say this about that. We had a viewer yesterday that chimed in, and his tag name was something of the New York Times. So I don't know if he works for the New York Times or what that was about, but the point is he sounded like he was in the know and said that it's getting more serious, and that basically, to cut to the chase without name dropping all the lawyers are going to be involved, that Deshaun Watson is lawyering up because it's about to get ugly. Now, I know it's just a civil suit. He's probably not going to face criminal charges because it's much more difficult to prove a criminal charge than a civil suit. Most people know that, right? But the NFL has suspended people for less. So I just don't think Houston's going to have their quarterback at the beginning of the season this year. And I just don't see how you let Deshaun Watson's face, unless he gets this thing totally expunged and out of the courts, and all 22 women cave and say, nah, it never happened. How do you
Right.
let him play in opening weekend?
I mean, I watch. I'm a big Pat McAfee fan. I was watching him yesterday, and it's like, if he is convicted of this stuff or anything, even 1 out of 22, it doesn't matter. There's 22 out there, but all we need is one. And this guy's not most likely playing this season for at least the first half. So I mean, yes, he could try and smush it all underneath get lawyers involved, try and take care of it that way, but it is not going to be looking good. They prepared and signed Tyrod Taylor. Green Bay actually signed Blake Bortles yesterday. So you see these teams that have quarterback decisions, making sure they have a plethora of other quarterbacks on the roster just in case.
Well, I'm all
things
for
go
it
south.
because what that means is we get Trevor Lawrence versus Tyrod Taylor in week 1. Basically, both of them are on the same learning scale because Tyrod Taylor might as well be a rookie. The way he runs an offense, so that gives Jacksonville a puncher's chance of actually winning that first game. Okay, so week 4, Bucks at Patriots. We kind of went over that. The big deal there, Brady going back to New England. Then you got Bills Chiefs in week 5. That's a fun one. Bills better show up and have a better game plan than what they did in the AFC Championship game. They've got to figure out a running game, and we'll see where they're at there in week 5. Week 6, Steelers Seahawks is pretty fun. Week 7, you got your Colts at the Niners. That should be 2 teams that are doing well, you would think, unless dramatic injuries. Cowboys Vikings. That's a bit of a reach. We don't know what either one of those teams will be. Both those teams could be just rolling if Dak comes back and is playing at top level, and the Vikings can get the Kirk Cousins from 2 years ago. That should be a fun one. You got Titans Rams. Titans have not been on a Sunday night game other than that snowy Green Bay debacle that happened last year in a hot minute. I would have liked to have seen them at home, but Titans at Rams, that to me is a pretty fun one. Chiefs Raiders. Now, Chiefs Raiders, Joey. The Raiders have had their number. The Raiders find a way to win. It's going to be in Vegas. They should have full capacity. That should be an absolute war.
I love when the Chiefs and Raiders, you got to always tune in no matter. It's kind of one of those things where, throw the records out the window because, like you said, the Raiders usually play the Chiefs pretty damn well. So that's going to be a fun and exciting game to watch. And also, as we keep cripping down here, I saw the Thanksgiving schedule, and you got Bears Lions is the 11:30, Raiders Cowboys is the 3:30, and then Bills Saints as the night game. So I think
we don't know what the Saints are going to be.
Right, exactly. But it looks like a decent Thanksgiving slate, hopefully on schedule.
I'll say this much with the Saints, I believe in Sean Payton. So I think he'll find a way to get that team to score enough points. I think he's going to rely heavily on his defense and on Kamara. So the Saints will probably be all right, but who will be the starting quarterback at that point? Who knows? Will Jameis have had some kind of would you be even willing to fathom drafting Jameis Winston as your quarterback in fantasy football this year? If you were in a deep league and you needed a backup, would you even think about it? Or you'd say, I'm not touching that.
I mean, I know he's put up the electric offense, and his interceptions do play a little bit into fantasy, but I don't know how much I could trust that. Like you said, I very much do trust Sean Payton to keep things together. I don't know. Maybe he'll even split things up time with Hill and Winston. I could see some crazy things coming out of that, but at the end of the day, it is hard to say people should trust Jameis Winston.
Amen to that. Probably not. Here's the thing with Jameis Winston. I think he'll put up pretty decent fantasy numbers like he did in Tampa, but I don't know if he's going to get you W's. We'll see. The biggest thing with him is he's got to prove that he is not going to be even Steven with touchdowns and interceptions.
Yeah.
You at least have to have a 2-to-1 ratio when it comes to that. If you're going to keep your job in the NFL, you put way too much pressure on your team, your defense. They start to resent you. It causes a lot of issues. So that's where I'm at with him.
Were you
Okay.
able to look at the Christmas slate?
I'm getting to that, finishing up the Sunday nights real quick. We'll just grab a couple and then we'll move on. Let me see here. Browns Ravens is a fun one on week 12.
Mm-hmm.
And Saints Bucks, that could mean something in week 15. Washington at the Cowboys, I think will most definitely mean something in week 16. I think the two of those teams will be fighting it out for the NFC East. And Vikings Packers, I think that gets flexed. I don't think there's any way in hell that those, because I believe the reports. I believe that Aaron Rodgers wants out and wants out in a big way. And even if they play him, he might start throwing temper tantrums out there. And by week 17, he's not even giving a damn, keeping himself fresh for his next suitor in 2022.
Wouldn't it be that something if he sat out, if like he didn't get traded and he just said, you know what, I'm sitting. I could not, like, I wouldn't believe what to do.
The hell out of everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that dynamic of a player. I mean, I know Le'Veon Bell, we've had it before, but we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, a top 5 quarterback potentially of all time.
I used to be a big fan of his, but as I've watched him over the years, it turned into a diva. I'm not as big a fan as I used to.
I mean, being in Chicago, even though I'm not a Bears fan, I don't like him personally, but on the field, he's pretty damn good.
The Christmas games, go ahead and roll them off to us, because then I want to jump into Monday Night Football.
Well, yeah, really quick. I feel bad for the NBA. They always load up their NBA schedule on Christmas, but you got 2 games. The first one being Cleveland at Green Bay. That will be a 3:00 game between. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is playing, you got Cleveland, Green Bay, 2 teams that made it to at least the divisional round last year. That will be fun. And then at 7:15, actually, Colts finally got primetime game this year after having 0 besides the Thursday night last year. We have Indianapolis at Arizona. So the first game's more between, the 2 upper echelon of teams. And then I think Colts and Cardinals, though, will be a pretty good, exciting game to watch late in the season. So I think you got a couple of good games there.
Where's that at again?
Arizona. Arizona is the second one. And then the first one is in Green Bay.
We're going to have to get you and Bobby on at the same time that week, because
definitely
he's a huge Arizona Cardinal fan. And so
good guy.
Let me see, trying to pull up that actual week, because I'm curious about something, if they have changed something that I've bitched and moaned about for a while. Okay, so they got the Thursday night game. There is no Friday game on Christmas Eve, so that is a good thing. I don't know if I like the Christmas Day games, to be honest with you. And I know that's weird for people to say that or hear me say that, because they know that I'm not some over religious. I'm not thumping a Bible. I'm not, telling you, you don't play on the Lord's Day kind of thing. Right. But I'm kind of at the point where I feel like Christmas should be for family. Maybe a Christmas night game, but to do a double header, I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I don't think we need Cleveland and Green Bay at 3:30. We could have been fine with just 7:15. That's just the way I feel about it. I know a lot of people are going to say, "What are you, nuts? We opened the presents at 6 a.m. when the kids and done it by 3:30." Maybe, but I think there's a lot of families that do it in a different way, and 3:30 might fall right in the middle of their plans. And you can drive a wedge in a family fight, because they're like, we don't get Thanksgiving because you have to watch football all day long. Now you're going to watch it at 3:30. I think it's a little greedy by the NFL to put 2 games on. And then you also got to think about if you go to that game, You know, if you're going to take your family to the game on Christmas, so what are you not going to spend your time with the rest of your family? I think it's a terrible, terrible look. I would have rather them had take that Cleveland Green Bay game and make it Christmas Eve night.
That would have been cool. Now I could get with you. I do like the two, but I could have got with you on having one on Christmas Eve. That would have been nice.
I just think, man, you're getting way too greedy with that. Because Christmas Eve night, there's usually not crap on. They don't do bowl games anymore on Christmas Eve unless they go back and change that. They don't have crap on. You're watching your fourth rerun of the Christmas Story on TBS. and so Christmas Eve, we always have drinks at the house with the close friends, right?
Right.
And it's our way of spending Christmas with our friends, and then spend Christmas Eve with our friends, and then Christmas Day I go to my wife's parents' house. So, and I usually invite my mom over for Christmas Eve and my sister. So I kind of spend Christmas Eve with them and the close friends, that live around in this area. It'd be nice to have a football game on to watch too. I mean, you put that sucker on at like 8:30, 9 o'clock when the kids go to bed. You don't have to be up super early. If you do, whatever, man, it's Christmas. You don't have to perform. You don't have to go into the sweatshop that day. I think it's a big, it makes the NFL look greedy. I know it pisses off the NBA too.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, the NFL got greedy with 17.
Christmas Day is their day. They don't have their day anymore. NFL just gobbled it up, which that part I don't care about. The hell with the NBA, but it cracks me up because you used to get excited. I bet the NBA is going to look at this and go, man, we need to make our primetime game like 10 o'clock that night. Right? Have the Lakers host somebody, because you can't put Lakers versus whoever like you can't put Lakers Nets at 8 p.m. Eastern on Christmas Eve, because Colts, Arizona, no matter how bad those teams are or how good those teams are, the fantasy football and the gambling is going to get you to watch that over a meaningless basketball game in the middle of December.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, and talking about greed with the NFL, personally, I didn't think they needed the 17th game, but they could also, I think they kind of messed a little bit of things up here in terms of could have gone to 2 preseason games with 17 regular season, but the NFL is giving as much content as possible, and the poor NBA is going to be sitting there. Like you said, it doesn't matter if the teams are good or bad. People have bets. People have DraftKings fantasy. I mean, everything is going on still. So sorry to the NBA.
Yeah, absolute nightmare. God. I bet you baseball's like, I am so glad we don't play on Christmas. Like, this season doesn't have to deal with that, because this is a perfect opportunity, by the way, for next year. And I know they haven't talked about it yet, for either the NBA or the NHL to wait till January 1st to start their season and then do the playoffs much later. And even if you want your opening day to be Christmas Day, fair enough. Okay. As far as the NBA goes, but they don't need to play before then. No one's watching that junk in the middle of late October, early November, right? And it would be a perfect time to go, well, this is a bunch of crap. The NFL's playing. You know what? Opening night's going to be Christmas Eve. How about that? We'll put NBA on that. Because the NBA, they've lost Christmas Day. It's over.
Game over for the great people in the NBA.
Amen to that. All right, Monday Night Football. Let's get into that.
Let's hit it.
You started off with Ravens Raiders. It's a little strange that we don't have the doubleheader, but I don't miss it because I don't like staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning to find out who's going to start the season off 1-0, the Chargers or the Jets or something that they. Oh, we need the New York audience. So I'm not upset about. It's strange because it's become such a tradition, but I'm not upset about that. But that's a good one to start off with. Ravens, Raiders. You got Lions, Packers. And we all know Monday Night Football slate sucks compared to the Sunday night, Monday Night Football. And Joey, you might be so young that you don't even remember when Monday Night Football was actually the king and Sunday Night Football took a back seat. Do you even remember that?
It was like at early stages, barely remember that. Sunday Night Football since I've been alive.
What year were you born?
I was born 92, so that was when Sunday Night Football was still big, but I feel like early 2000s was the shift, right? Would you say?
Yeah, so Sunday Night Football came on to the scene in the late 80s. It actually started on TNT.
Oh, wow.
The guy that his name's escaping me. Is it Mike Patrick? Is that his name? The guy that did
Dan Patrick?
No. Mike something.
Okay.
Did college football on ESPN for years. They had him on the TNT. I'll think of it in a second. But they had him doing the TNT broadcast. And then for a while, TNT would do half of them. I'm trying to remember I guess ESPN started doing the other half at some point in the 90s. And so it was an oddity at the time. People were like, you don't need 3 games of the NFL, blah, blah, blah. And now it has gone full circle where now Sunday Night Football is the king and Monday Night Football is an afterthought because it's been owned by ESPN and they don't put these all come down to bids, y'all, by the way. If you wonder, well, why do they do this? Why do they do that? It's like, why are the Lions and Packers week 2's game? Because it comes down to bids and it was a cheaper bid. So Monday Night Football, they kind of go, ESPN's theory is you're going to watch it because it's the NFL. So we'll put anything on there. And we're not going to worry about trying to outbid these others. Because to be able to outbid and get the pecking order, you have to have it. It goes into the scale of how big was your television contract with the NFL. And since ESPN's Monday Night Football contract is usually one of the lowest, they get last pick, right? So that's why we only have a few decent ones. I'd say week 3 could be fun. Eagles at Cowboys. I don't know what the Chargers are going to be, and I was meaning to bring that up when we were doing Sunday Night Football, but the Chargers are on a Sunday Night Football game late in the season. Steelers at Chargers week 11. That to me is a huge gamble for that to be your week 11. I don't know what the rules are now. In years past, week 11 was too early to flex. Maybe they've changed that. But if you get pigeonholed in that, you might have a phenomenal game where it's Justin Herbert and the 7-3 Chargers taking on the Steelers who have revived and they're 8-2 and it's a great game. Or you might get a couple of 4-7 teams. They're looking for the future. Ben Roethlisberger's already like packed it in, and you're having to watch Haskins throw 2 pick sixes to lose the ball game.
Don't do that to us. No, I mean, your Sunday night's got to be, and with the flex scheduling, like you said, I believe now it doesn't happen until like week 13. So it's a little hard. If they're stuck with that game, God bless them. But at least they can flex out once in a while, because Monday night gets ugly late in the year. Sometimes it's brutal when you get to week 15 and you got like the Giants and the Lions or something like that. And it's like, come on.
Right. Some of the other Monday night games that should be fun: Colts at Ravens in week 5. That should be fun. Bills at Titans. That should be a good one.
There we go.
Saints at Seahawks. I don't hate that. It'll still be early enough in the year where if the Saints are stinking, you think they still have a shot. Now, week 8, the Giants are at the Chiefs. Oh, my God.
They did that for the market. Come on with that. That's what I'm saying.
What's the opening line on that? Minus 17.5 right now? God. Bears at Steelers. That could be interesting. Probably not. You're going to have a rookie quarterback getting his bumps going into the steel curtain. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out. But then you got Rams 49ers. That's not terrible. And you got the Giants again.
Come on. What are they? I know it's New York, but what are they doing?
If you're going to put New York on, for Christ's sake, can't you put them on against a division opponent? Maybe they have a chance. I mean, they're going to get boat raced in Kansas City on November 1st. And then 3 weeks later, same deal against, by that time, Tom Brady and the Bucks will be starting to gear up for the playoffs. And because Tom Brady's Buccaneers were like an NBA team last year. Like, just get us into the tournament. We're starting to figure it out. Look out. So that's going to be a disaster. Seahawks at Washington. I don't know what to make of Washington's new quarterback. He played well in the playoffs, but small sample size. So
Boring, if you ask me, though.
What's that?
I think that matchup's boring. Honestly, I'll just be honest there. Seahawks and Washington.
Your mic went down considerably for some reason. Rams at Arizona. That's a fun one. Week 14. Browns at Steelers, week 17. That could mean something. Dolphins at Saints. I think it's a better Monday Night Football slate than we've seen in years past. But there's a handful that you're like, what did I do to you to give us this junk? Right? Now, Thursday Night Football, that's always the one that you're like, oh, dear God in heaven, what do we have to watch this week? Now, we know the first one's going to be great, but that one's done by NBC. After that, it's the NFL Network and Amazon Prime bringing it to you. So,
after week 1?
Do what?
After week 1, it goes to Amazon Prime.
Yeah, okay. I think your volume's coming up a little bit. I don't know if there's a short in that quarter. What causes that? But so NFL Network gets it by itself for 3 weeks, so weeks 2 through 4, and then it goes Amazon Prime and NFL Network all the way to week 11. Week 12 is NBC, but that's probably Bill Saints. Wasn't that the Thanksgiving game?
The Thanksgiving game was, I believe, Dallas and Buffalo, I want to say, yeah.
Dallas was playing the Raiders, and I believe it was Bill Saints was the
night game. The night game.
And then after that, it's back to the Prime Network, and then the final game on Thursday night, week 16. I guess they're not doing one in week 17, and definitely not one in week 18. I bet you that I bet 17 falls on like New Year's Eve or something. It's NFL Network alone, but majority of it this year, you're going to have Prime and NFL Network.
I think a lot of people will buy the Prime.
Fox is doing it as well, weeks 5 through 11 and 13 through 15. So you can be able to watch on 3 different devices.
Okay. I thought you were going to have to buy Prime. A lot of people are going to be buying Prime right after this and go boom. But they still will have to for a couple of games or maybe a free trial. I don't know.
Well, if you've got NFL Network, you won't need it.
Okay, cool.
Now, I currently have it, but who the hell knows what YouTube TV is going to do? But it's good to know that we have Prime, and when in doubt, I could just go watch it over there. But I'm going to be honest with you, I hate Thursday Night Football. It makes me mad every single week, and I'll tell you why. It's because when you play fantasy football, you have to – it's like you get no day off from it. Because you go from Monday Night Football to Tuesday morning trying to figure out your waiver wire, right? Wednesday, you get your waiver wire cleared. You figure out who your players are. And then by Thursday, you got to figure out if you're starting a guy you picked up or whatever the case may be. So your only break is then Friday, and then come Saturday, you got to start figuring it out again. I hate Thursday Night Football. I wish they would get rid of it.
Well, and I mean, think about it from this perspective as well. What if you got a really good player that's hobbled during the week playing on Sunday, and then you choose to play him over your Thursday? I think just a lot with the injuries too. Thursday could play a big factor, and you might not get your best lineup out there always because you're a little timid of what could happen later in the week.
I know I'll never win this argument because it comes down to ratings, but I would prefer a Monday night doubleheader over a Thursday night game. Because it'd be cool Monday night, get a game like around 5:30, have the second game at 8:30, and it would be a neat way to start the terrible week that is the work week, right?
What would you think about Friday Night Lights?
For the NFL, I don't know
And-
if they would ever do it. As far as Thursday night and Friday night football, I wish that was more dedicated to college. To be honest with you,
Fair. And it used to be, but Thursdays were the big college day back. ESPN got overshadowed by the NFL because their Thursday night college game was always the way to the week started.
Well, look, I've been saying this for years. The Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the Big 12, they need to take advantage of the fact that there are a lot of college fans that would like to watch their big matchups on Thursday night and Friday, for that matter. I don't hear this crap about the high school football. If you're still going to high school football games in your 40s, you're Al Bundy, right? So, unless your kid is in the game, you have no reason to be at a high school football game. If you are somehow coaching or your faculty, B, you go to the school, you currently go to the high school, right? Or C, you're some kind of a recruiter trying to get them to come to Alabama or Florida State or whatever, right? That's their only reasons for going to a high school football game. And then the fourth one would be your child is in the audience or your nephew, whatever, but you have
some type of family.
Right. I graduated from high school years and years ago. I haven't been back to a game since. Why the hell would I? It's high school football. It's a terrible product to watch. It's great for them. It's a great time to go hang out with the kids. But I remember going to high school football games, looking and going, what's this dude, man? He's like freaking 60 and he's sitting there by himself. And then you get to talking to him. You say, hey, grandkid out there? No, but I played in 1947. I was the pulling guard when we were doing the wing tee back when football was football. Like, it's Friday night. Why aren't you at a bar? What, you loser? All right. Oh, I love Rivertown football high school. I live for it. My entire man cave is built for Rivertown high school football.
You're killing me. That voice is so, you got that creepy old man voice going.
And like the next morning, the Saturday morning, he's in some coffee shop bitching and moaning to anyone that'll listen to him. Yeah, they need to change that place kicker. He's ridiculous.
The guy sweeping in the corner has to listen to that poor story.
They won the game 12-7. I don't know if the place kicker is the biggest issue right now. I just can't stand people that would give you that argument. Get the hell out of here, Al Bundy. But the Thursday night games, the ones that we have that'll be fun this year, Giants and Washington's not terrible. It's week 2. I don't hate that. And by the way, the Giants are on a lot for a team that's not very good.
For real.
Jags Bengals, that could be fun. Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence. I could get into that.
Same here.
A lot of fun. Rams Seahawks, that's actually a good game.
Yeah.
Bucks and Eagles, we'll see what the Eagles are, but it's not a terrible game.
No.
Broncos Browns, Aaron Rodgers going into Cleveland, that should be fun.
Your prediction.
Yeah. Packers at the Cardinals.
Aaron Rodgers again.
That's gonna be Jordan Love, and it could be a fun fantasy matchup. Maybe by that time Jordan Love's put up a couple 300-yard games, and everyone's going nuts about him. Jets Colts probably
Won't bring a lot of interest.
Probably shouldn't bring. Well, it's New York.
That's true. That you got a good point.
And what is Zach Wilson at that point? He will be at week 9. At that point, you're a legitimate NFL first-year player. You kind of take the rookie tag off someone at that point, right?
Yep.
That could be interesting. I mean, let's face it. The Jets will definitely have the best quarterback on the field.
Oh, here we go. Oh, the zingers are in.
It's back, baby. Football season's back.
I got to get my Wentz jersey here. Son of a gun.
Just wait a few weeks. They'll be giving them away.
Come on.
And man, if I'm a Colts fan, I'm not investing in a Wentz jersey. I might give me a Taylor jersey. Hell, I'd buy a Fisher jersey for a buck. Cowboys Saints is week 13. That's not terrible. Steelers Vikings. You just never know. 49ers Titans. That should be a good game, assuming that the Titans are in the playoff hunt and the 49ers the same. Or it could be a situation where the Titans are hosting Trey Lance's third start. Chiefs Chargers is going to be a damn blowout in all likelihood, but the fact that it's in Los Angeles gives Herbert a puncher's chance. Are there any other games that jump out at you? Before we
we covered a lot of the good of the prime time. I think, again, as I mentioned earlier, I know I talked more AFC, but in week 1, I really am interested to see the QBs that come out of the tunnels for Green Bay and New Orleans. That cannot be understated enough because Taysom Hill seems like he probably will be that guy under Sean Payton, but there's Winston there. And then on Green Bay, we don't know the Aaron Rodgers situation. Every day something happens, as we talked about. Blake Bortles, they just signed yesterday for some depth. So you really never know what's going to happen. And I'm interested to see the two quarterbacks out of the tunnel because that's the Fox primetime game of the week. You could get Love versus Winston, and that blow everything up.
What I find interesting is that New Year's Eve falls on Friday this year. So there's no real reason why the NFL couldn't have played a Thursday night game on the 30th. I don't believe, because they're not playing anything on that Saturday on the 1st, because that's New Year's Day and that usually belongs to college football. They'll probably be playing the first round of the playoffs that day. So I'm a little surprised that there's not a Thursday night game.
Because it's not like it's the last week. There's still 1 week after that. So I agree as well. They could have done it.
It's strange considering you're going to get greedy on Christmas and put 2 games on, but you're not going to have a single one. That's weird. I mean, I'm not going to hate that because what week is that? That's week 17.
Week 17.
So that will be championship week for fantasy football. That makes you, man, I'll tell you one thing, that makes your life a lot easier that day because you don't have to worry about some stupid Thursday night matchup that usually screws you up, right?
Thank God.
So you don't have to worry about that. So that's huge for that. So I like it. I just find it odd that they wouldn't put something on there.
They've been greedy everywhere else.
And I can't imagine that there's a college football game. Let me look that up real quick. Is there a college football playoff or something? I'm pretty sure that they're playing on the 1st because let's see here. It is going to see now. Why is it when you go, when you put in 2021 season,
I did the same thing.
They take you to the Alabama ass kicking.
Yep, I saw the same exact thing.
Maybe if I put 22, it'll be in there. The national championship game is going to be on the 10th. So I would think that the playoff schedule.
And that's at Lucas Oil Stadium, the College Football Playoff National Championship this year.
They're saying that is weird. Is this right? Is this correct? The college football playoff is going to be on New Year's Eve. I thought they said they were never going to do that again. I'm not sure if what I'm looking at is correct.
All I'm getting is the stadium that I see it at, Lucas Oil, but I'm not seeing many dates.
That's the championship on January 10th. What I'm saying is the semifinals, they have it as Friday, December 21st. Not only is it a Friday, it's New Year's Eve. They said they were never going to do that again. I don't think that's right.
Sounds strange, right?
Because the last time they did it on New Year's Eve, they had terrible ratings and they said they weren't ever going to do it again blah, 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 blah. Why the hell wouldn't you do it on Saturday, January 1st? That makes no sense whatsoever. I'll look into that before too long, because that makes no sense.
Because what do people want to do? New Year's Day, they're hungover, they're laying around, they'll watch football. New Year's Eve, everyone makes their plans.
I'm looking at even the Wikipedia page has it as December 31st, 2021 is going to be the semifinals. That makes absolutely no sense. I don't think that's true. If so, it is the dumbest thing college football's ever done.
I don't like it. Don't like it at all.
I wonder if they were fearful the NFL was going to play that day, and maybe they'll end up changing it.
They got time. Get it right.
Right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and we went over a little bit, but that's okay, because the debacle that was
Spygate by New England Patriots. Spygate number 2 from the New England Patriots.
What about Spygate? What are we talking about? Are you talking about that the Patriots?
They got into your system, man. They're always cheating. They try to cut a Colts fan off. They're trying this crap again. It's not your fault. It's the New England Patriots. I don't know what you want to call it. Technical difficulty, Spygate, whatever you want to call it. They screwed us up this morning because they don't like my Colts being good and their team's not.
The flight of balls had nothing to do with the fact that Tom Brady kicked the crap out of luck that day. Let it go. Let it go.
I'm sorry.
What are they down 42-7 at the halftime? It's because the ball was off by a half a pound. Like, oh,
Even you couldn't get me to agree with that one. That was just bogus.
God, when I was thinking at the time, I was like, man, if I'm a Colts fan, I'm like, would you just quit talking about it? I'm tired of getting reminded of how bad it was, like how bad of a game was. All right, it's time to turn back time. It'd be like them constantly going in and doing a deep dive on where the goalposts aligned during one of our wide rights. Like, shut up already. Anyways, everyone's got to have a damn reason why they lost the game. The sun was in our eyes. Oh man, things weren't fair that day. Sometimes you just get your ass kicked and you're like, yeah, I got to move on. I got to move on. Turn back time. Here we go. All right. On this date, in 1955, the great Mickey Mantle hit 3 consecutive home runs of at least 463 feet. That is a baseball record. No one has ever hit 3 consecutive home runs that far. I mean, you're talking about tattooing balls. He hit 3 home runs and not a damn one of them was, just got over the fence. Good for you. Also on this date in 1958, Stan Musial becomes the 8th player to get 3,000 hits. I still think he's one of the most underrated player in the history of baseball. He's an all-timer. He is like Mount Rushmore good, and you rarely ever see him referred to. They always go to the same old ones, the Mantles, the Willie Mays, obviously Ruth and Gary, but they always kind of skate over Stan Musial, and I think that is a ridiculous thing. And beginning essentially the strikeout era, Reggie Jackson in the state in 1983 became the first major leaguer to strike out 2,000 times. He was one of the first players to not give a damn about striking out because he was trying to get home run totals to help his payday, right? Still today, I believe that there's not enough embarrassment that goes into a strikeout. When I was a kid growing up watching baseball, because even though Reggie Jackson was there, he was not the norm. not only watching it, but when you would go to the park, it was an embarrassment to strike out. And now everyone's like, oh, whatever. It's an out, an out's an out. And it's not really true, because if you strike out, you never put the ball in play. You never put any stress on the defense. All right, birthdays.
It's your birthday today. What does that mean?
Happy birthday. Oh, is he 60 years old today? Dennis Rodman, 60 years old. Wow. I bet that is going to be one hell of a wig he's going to wear tonight.
He's gonna he's gonna be partying for sure.
He's going to be wearing wigs and identifying and everything. There's no way that dude goes down without, a good swing on his 60th birthday. It'd be a miracle if we don't start the show off tomorrow with breaking news from Las Vegas police.
Green wig with Kim Jong-il.
Also, happy birthday, happy 43rd to Barry Zito.
Wow.
Very, very good pitcher that never quite got to where we thought he was going to be. Of course, he was part of the famous A's trio, Mulder, Zito, and
Tim Hudson.
Tim Hudson of the Atlanta Braves. Huddy. One of my still favorite all-time Atlanta Braves. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
As much fun as I had talking NFL, my walk-off is a little sad. My Chicago Bulls would probably be eliminated tonight, as they have another failed season after the Thibodeau era. So another playoffs for me, not having a team in it in the NBA, but that's okay. I got baseball and a football schedule to focus on now.
Yeah, my walk-off for today is, man, I'm starting to believe that New England Patriots theory.
I'm telling you,
my computer is in the central time zone. I kid you not. Right now, my hardline computer is picking up central time zone because it's telling me that the Braves and Blue Jays are playing at 11:20 Central on ESPN's scoreboard. Yeah, the Braves Blue Jays today at 12:20 Eastern. You got Morton and Stripling. There's a lot of baseball games on in the daytime today. Cardinals Brewers, don't sleep on this one. I know I'm a Braves fan. I'm going to be locked in on Cardinals Brewers because it's Jack Flaherty versus Corbin Burns.
Woo.
He comes off the IL today. And also, real quick, what's that kid's name? He makes his debut tonight for the Mariners. Logan Gilbert is coming up, and he is their top prospect. And Kellenick, if any of y'all have him in fantasy baseball, he is making his major league debut tonight for the Mariners. So the Mariners are bringing up their kids, and should be a lot of fun. Have a great day. Great job, Joey. Sorry about the technical difficulties, y'all. When I repost this, it will only we're going to edit out the 35 minutes of nothingness, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you Saturday too.
Yeah, Saturday. That's right. Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Normally we're going to do it 11 a.m. Eastern, but there's a scheduling conflict. 9 a.m. Eastern, Joey and Christian, Chicago baseball, the neighborhood play. And tomorrow it's Justin, Tony at 8 Eastern. We're still doing Tony's half hour at 8. And Matt Carr will be back for the first time in a couple of weeks.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll find out what kind of drunken debauchery he got into.
With Dennis Rodman.
All the way to Florida, he doesn't even see me. All right. You did the same thing. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.